Hey everyone, how's it going? How's it going? I can't speak today. It is incredibly late. It is like 9:30 in the afternoon, evening. I have a reason for why I'm recording this so late. I have been busy most of today, and tomorrow I am going to be busy as well. So I thought I'd crack this one out today, and I probably won't have another video for you guys until next Thursday, my next comic book haul, which is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. And then the week after that, we'll have a Deadpool 2 review, which will have spoilers aplenty. Just spoilers, alright? Nice. Spoilers, alright? Okay, nice. Yeah. There's going to be spoilers in that review. But basically today, as you remember in my last video, I told you about the books that I picked up this week. Oh yeah, also today, just in today, not to float my own boat or anything, but just in today, this channel went from 28 subscribers at the beginning of the day, and now we're on 33. That is amazing, guys. Thank you so much to everyone that's tapped that subscription bell. So yeah, let's get on with the reviews. First up, Iron Fist issue 79. There's a reason why I'm talking about this book first. I wasn't going to review it, but I reckon enough happens for me to actually talk about it. The thing is, I spoke about issue 80 last week, which was the last issue, and this is the penultimate issue. And that's the problem that I had, is that I read the issue after this, before this, so I already knew what was going to happen next. The cliffhanger wasn't really much of a cliffhanger. And with Iron Fist, any other week, any other time, Iron Fist would probably be my pick of the week. Probably be the best comic of the week. But it's just that the new artist isn't great. It kind of reminds me of that kind of Chris Samney style of art, which I am not really much of a fan of. As you can see there, it's very like minimalistic, low detail, and from the last arc with Sabretooth, which had really beautiful art, it just feels like a really big slump. Again, it's a very quick read. Most of it is just most of the book is like, you remember the locker room scene in Monsters Inc. when they're in the locker room and he's like, pass the deodorant, and he's like, I got all these deodorants, they smell like ass. And yeah, it's basically that for 90% of the book. And yeah, I'm not saying it's not bad in any way. It's just I read it in the wrong way, the wrong order. Probably would have been much better if I had read 79 before 80 and done it that way, because this way it just didn't seem as good, and it's nowhere near as good as the first arc was anyway. Anyway, the next book I'm talking about is Captain America number 700. This would be at the bottom of any regular week, because it was just terrible. I already said that I already mentioned that I'm not a fan of Chris Samney's art. And again, it's not bad here, but it's just not my cup of tea. It just seems a bit too cartoony in a way, like too simplistic. And the storyline is basically Captain America just beat a big bad guy, a big bad called Lord Babington, which is a hilarious name, Lord Babington. Babington, yeah. And so he is fighting with the Resistance to try and quell the forces of this damn it, I forgot what the enemy group is called, but this enemy group, which is basically just Hydra. And the story's mostly set in the future, and there's this woman who's the main part of the cover for some reason, but she's barely in the book, and apparently she's some kind of love interest for Captain America, even though he's going out with Sharon Rogers, so that's a bit weird. So Bruce Banner from the future is for some reason the same age as he is now, even though he's dead. He's just come back. But even though he was technically dead at the point of this issue, was he? Did this come out before the No Surrender issue? I don't know. I'm not reading No Surrender, but yeah. For some reason, Bruce Banner's the same age in the future that he is in present day. But he's built a time machine made from like remnants of a Fantastic Four time machine, because they can't show the Fantastic Four, they can only show the Thing, and even that, it's just on a telecom. So yeah, and that ends up getting Captain America sent back to the past around a few minutes before he's captured by this Rampart. That's the name of the enemy group, Rampart. This Rampart group, and for some reason it just happens to be Lord Babington who's on this freighter, and they fight him. Captain America wins. What do you freaking do? And he's writing this letter to Sharon Rogers, basically saying, sorry, I've been gone a while. I got caught up in a fight with Kraven. I got sent to the future. And I got sent back. And it's all hunky-dory now. And now we're going back into a storyline, which is going back to the future. But even that storyline is looking like it's going to be 100 times better than this issue 700, which is just offensive to the name of Captain America. Because, you know, I am such a big fan of Captain America that he needs to be great in everything that he is. But it's just annoying how the 700th anniversary issue of Captain America is just so bland and forgettable, really. Not terrible, not the worst comic book I've ever read, but it's definitely not good enough to be a 700th issue. And it's definitely not the 700th issue that's going to go down in history. That's probably the Spider-Man one, because, you know, he died. And then he came back only a few years later. Yeah, comics are weird. But anyway, next. Hunt for Wolverine, the Adamantium Agenda. This issue was good. I'm tempted to say that this was almost better than the Weapon Lost Hunt for Wolverine issue, because we actually have some action here. we start off with a little bit of scene setting where we are shown why this team is looking for Wolverine, and it's all to do with something that Wolverine did a few years ago, where he basically saved the whole city by taking the force of a nuke on head first, and because he's got the healing factor, he was able to heal from it. And everyone else like flew away. So it was after this that everyone on the New Avengers team at that point, so Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Man, Spider-Man, made a promise to Wolverine that if anyone were to use his body, if he were to die, if anyone were to use his body for ill means, Tony Stark and his New Avengers would come back together to find his body. So we head back to present day, and Tony Stark is at the grave of Wolverine, and he's talking to Kitty Pryde. They're talking to each other about why it is that Tony Stark is looking for Wolverine, and he just basically says, "I owe him." And then he's like, "Let me just make a call." And Spider-Man is in the middle of a battle with the Vulture. And after this, Spider-Man just says, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all made the same. Pretty sure we all made the same vow to Wolverine that we would look for his body if it were to go missing." And the one thing that I don't like, or that I don't get, so Riri Williams, is it that she has the armor from the Bendis run now that Tony Stark built before Riri was introduced, and Tony Stark has a more movie-looking Iron Man suit? Or is it just a movie-looking Iron Man suit because, you know, movies coming out, you know, Infinity War's out, you gotta make everyone look like they're from Infinity War, even though two of these characters are not in Infinity War. But yeah, the whole team's assembled, and they actually start the search in the middle of the first issue. And so they all go to this villain auction. They all wear these masks, and for some reason Spidey's still wearing his mask, and I'm guessing that's probably to do with secret identity stuff. He doesn't want anyone to know who he is, but he's still got a mask on under that. But 1 minute when he's got the Tiki mask on, he's taken his Spider-Man mask off, and when he's got the Spider-Man mask on, the Tiki mask is off. That's a bit weird. And so we see there's gonna be this fight, but it doesn't actually happen, and we're given this fake out that this seller has a big item to sell. He's selling a weapon that can be used for mass destruction. And it's apparently what he says here is, "What you've heard is true. I hold in my hands every single part of a person, someone from the superhero community. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the entire DNA sequence of Danielle Cage." There's going to be a big fight in the next issue. Danielle Cage, as you probably guessed, is the daughter of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, two of the superheroes who are at the auction. So yeah, really excited for the next issue. I feel like this is a lot better than the Weapon Lost, even though I liked that one a lot. This is better because it gets straight into the action. We actually have an ending that means something, that is actual shock twist, that is actually, it's just fun Marvel Comics going back to the way that they were before all the, there's no politics, there's no hidden agendas, it's all just comic book fun, superheroes fighting villains. It's all just heroes fighting villains, and it's fun. And it's written well. So yeah, but speaking of something written well, we have Venom #1 by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. And let me just tell you, man, let me tell you something, man. Donny Cates is a genius when it comes to writing Marvel Comics. He knows how to write. You could put Donny Cates on any book and he would smash it out of the park. But let me just tell you, I am really glad that they went with the new type of, with the more glossy kind of like magazine paper for the cover, because usually it's like they use the same paper for the cover as they do the actual story, like panels. But here they have a different, like, stronger paper on the outside, which makes it feel less cheap and makes you feel like it's actually worth something. And another thing that I noticed, the Marvel logo has changed once again. They no longer have the faces at the bottom anymore. It's when they did with Legacy, but also they don't have the name of the storyline at the top anymore, which doesn't bug me that much. But basically, what happens in this issue is the first page is a flashback to long ago, where we see the Venom symbiote that Flash Thompson wasn't the first to wield the Venom symbiote. It actually goes back to Victorian era times, or like Viking times almost, like the times of Beowulf. And turns out this is just a nightmare that Eddie Brock is having, but it's not Eddie Brock that's having the nightmare, it's actually the symbiote. So Eddie Brock is taking these anti-psychosis pills, and we see that the symbiote and Eddie aren't really seeing eye to eye. Eddie just wants to shut up the symbiote, and the symbiote wants to have this connection, but every time it gets silenced, it's like, no, we can't control ourselves. I'm going to kill you in your sleep. I'm going to fill your lungs and choke you in your sleep. And Eddie, man, just looks like he's hit rock bottom. He does. He looks... Shit. He looks like he's hit rock bottom. And yeah, he's not at the highest point in his life, but it does seem like, but we get this thing through the radio. Venom swings off like a badass. Look at that. Tell me that's not a badass panel. And he is about to face a new Jack-O-Lantern. Jack-O-Lantern is a villain with a really, really, like, hilarious history. He's the most pointless Spider-Man villain ever, and he's done nothing noteworthy in his life. He was kind of the arch enemy of Flash Thompson when he was Venom, and we see that Venom is becoming way more brutal, and he's not listening to Eddie at all. So he just goes ahead and kills this guy. Just goes ahead and kills this Jack-O-Lantern guy, and goes off to kill these two police officers as well. And then we see that something's wrong with Venom, because he's not speaking English and he looks like that, which is a bit, you know, grotesque. So the police shoot a bomb at Eddie. Well, not the police, this mysterious guy from off-panel shoots a bomb at Eddie. It explodes. Symbiote goes everywhere, and this guy is like, on your feet, soldier, and still thinks that this is Flash Thompson. So, which is kind of funny. But he soon realizes, wait, you're not Flash Thompson, but you'll do. Hits him over the head and has him, like, tied up to a chair with Sonics in the background and fire behind him. And we find out that this guy is called... We find out that this guy's name is Rex somebody. He does say his name somewhere. Rex Strickland. I'm not sure if this is a new character or not, but they do seem to be treating him like he's a new character. But yeah, this guy's basically saying, look, I can teach you how to use your symbiote to its fullest capabilities. And he's like, I'm listening, but you kidnapped me, so I'm still going to treat you as an insane psychopath. So they're talking, and Eddie sends his symbiote to try and knock out this Rex guy. Doesn't work, because Rex has used the symbiote before, and he knows how it works. So he's like, look, we need to work together, because something is coming that you aren't ready for at the moment. But I can train you, I can make you ready for it. And so we then pick up with Eddie on this, like, in front of this truck that's heading right towards him. These people on the truck think that he's homeless, so they're like, just run him over. And then the symbiote is like, these people are bad, they deserve to die. And then we get this panel. That is an amazing double page spread. Seriously. Damn. We get this action sequence where he's fighting all these guys in the tank, in the trucks, and then he gets punched, like, out of the way, and he sees more of the creatures that he turned into at the beginning of the book. there. And they're speaking in a language that only the symbiote can understand. The symbiote responds, but the symbiote is afraid of these things, so it's not latching back to Eddie. But Eddie, of course, rushes in to fight these things and only gets stabbed for his trouble. So he's left on the ground, dying, impaled. But the symbiote fixes it, is seen to, go over and, heal him, I guess. And the symbiote is like, and Eddie's like, what's going on? What did they say to you? And the symbiote's like, it's coming. And Eddie's like, what's coming? The symbiote says, God is coming. Damn. That is so good. Like, this issue is so good, man. Donny Cates is an amazing writer. He could write any character, seriously. Because he just understands the integrity of the characters. Like, Venom is a ex-villain of Spider-Man who's trying to get on the right side, because Eddie Brock is not a bad guy, but he just became a bad guy out of the circumstances that he was in at the time, and now he's trying to get out of it. The art works for the storyline. It's very, dark, and there's a lot of shadows, and it's all very crazy because Venom is acting crazy. So yeah, it really works for the kind of storyline that it is, and it's just so good. I can't fault it. Really, I cannot fault Venom #1. But anyway, those have been my reviews of the books that I picked up this week. I hope to see you guys again next week for my comic book haul and comic book review videos. Until then, to all our one, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, share with your family and friends, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.